Thank you again for the audience to hear, and thanks again for President John to bring us such insightful novelties and I think eye-opening technology, especially renewable energies. And I think I like to bring the topic into Taiwan because we know that Taiwan put a lot of efforts on the clean energy as well. And I think one of the propeller is our National Science Technology Councils. And I think we invite Director Luo here. And I think that my first question goes to Director Luo. And about we know that the National Science Technology Councils usually to play is a backbone of our Taiwan's development, especially some technologies. And I think net zero is a big issue. And I want to hear you plans. How will the MSTC will lead us to develop the new technology to embrace the future of net zero? We have a long way to go to net zero, which is 2015, and how the MSTC will bring us to there, please.
So I would like to thank Ms. Wang for the introduction. And so for this nice question, I have the opportunity to explain what we are doing, what we are going to do. I think that this new technology for net zero carbon emission is required at least for the final 30 to 50% of a carbon reduction. And NSTC has long focused on frontier research of science and technology. But for developing this net zero technology, it's slightly different. Because this new technology have to be realized and used in Taiwan, okay? So to achieve that, when this technology is ready, the other things has to be ready as well. So that we need to make sure, for example, the law or regulation for the use of this new technology. Okay. So, for example, the carbon capture storage, if this technology is ready, so the first question raised is about if we have the law or regulation for the environment assessment for the site of storage. So when we develop this technology, all these law regulation and system should be ready. And the more important, our society and the people has to accept it. So there are quite a lot of work to do, not just the technological development. So NSTC has to cooperate with other ministers accomplish this. Okay. Second, the ministry of, different ministries have also to cooperate on the project themselves. Okay, for example, the academic Sinica, NSTC, typically focus on the upstream research. But the Ministry of Economical Affairs, Ocean Affairs, Agriculture, they will focus on the direct use of this technology. So these two need to be connected together. So a cooperation has to proceed. For example, Academic Sinica and NSTC and also the Ministry of Ocean Affairs all work on ocean energy. They have to work together to make this really be realized in Taiwan. And finally, I would like to point out social science is also very critical. In this technology development. We have certainly 5 major technology development, including this sustainable energy, low carbon production, recycling, and carbon capture. Finally would be the social science, because once we have this new technology that could cause greater impact on this society, okay, so we should prepare to what could happen. And the plan for the supporting system, and also for the adaptation, and the evaluation of social impact, all should be ready, should be studied. Okay, so that would be quite critical because all technology will be used in human society. Okay, so would be my comments about these questions.
Thank you. So actually, the net zero is about whole ecosystem, not only technology.
That's right.
But how we build ecosystem which is apply or suitable to the clean energy society or the net zero goal. I think it's quite important. Yes. And speaking to the ecosystem, we all know that Taiwan is a powerhouse of technology, especially semiconductor. And I recently just heard a lot of complaint or anxiety from the industrial. So actually, this question goes to the Deputy Director Lins. And you have I think you have received a lot of complaint or anxiety from our industrial, especially on these power transitions. So we, from the fossil fuel to clean energy, a lot of, especially when the carbon emissions start to rise, which is increase the cost of our industrials. Could you give us your ideas on how government help our industrial, especially some traditional, especially Taiwan have more than 1 million small and medium enterprises here. How government can help them to deal with those huge, gigantic power transition?
Okay, thank you, moderator, Mr. Wang. I think I'm pleased to join this panel, and I learned that the future text is probably the first time to include the net zero, that kind of pavilion. So I would expect that this kind of pavilion may continue for the next 30 years, right? So because technology will play a very important role, just like Director Low said. So probably I will give a whole picture about what's happening about net zero. The President Tsai actually announced our first phase of energy transition in 2016. So I would say that at that time, probably 6 years ago, we set up a 20% renewable electricity as the target. And also we increase the natural gas, reduce coal. So this is the first plan. All we can say now is the first phase of the net zero transition. Because now we move on to the next and the second phase of net zero emission. Now to down the CO2 emission to zero. So it's very ambitious goal. Actually, I'll probably give you figures. Taiwan accounts for about 0.56% of total global emission, which is actually not big enough comparing to China's 30%. But actually, we should do our part because every individual on this planet have contribute a lot of pressure to the planet. So that's our personal, individual, or every country responsibility, no doubt about it. But the way toward net zero emission is kind of very ambitious and also important target. So we need a very holistic approach toward that goal. So the President Tsai and also our Minister Go Mingxin actually coordinate the whole government. We announced in this March Taiwan's pathway toward 2015 net zero emissions. So this is very important target to lead the nation, or in response to the moderator's question, lead the industry toward that goals. And give a very brief introduction. In that roadmap, actually we include 4 transitions. The first is energy transition. Second is industrial transition. Third will be lifestyle transition. And then finally, the social transition. Everybody knows that energy transition played a key components, and also industrial transition also important. But this time we particularly include the social lifestyle, because we know lifestyle will also very important. Probably later on the JR will elaborate more. because everybody's lifestyle will definitely change. So we will see probably in the next few days, next few years, we'll see a lot of technology development in probably outside, just to echo our keynote speech, outside our box. Probably you won't see or you cannot imagine in the next couple of years. So we need some breakthrough technology. For example, in energy technology, in electricity management, also in transportation, also in hydrogen, and also in agriculture. Personally, I look particularly the agriculture will play a very important or increasing important roles. So I think this is the whole picture. We need the technology development as a very important base for that industry. So in conclusion, that in summary, that I think for industry, that the trend may be a crisis, and I also see that as an opportunity, because you see that in the global now is a chaotic world. Because last year we in Glasgow, I also attended the COP26. At the time when over 130 countries announced the net zero goals, now we probably also the think tank account estimate probably we also increased probably 1.8 degrees Celsius, and now we have already reached 1.1 degrees. So it's still lag behind the 1.5 degrees target. But this is a very important word, the time moment. So I think also in Taiwan, our industry play a very important roles in all the supply chain. So I think we can contribute more than 0.56%. Even though the 0.56% down to zero, it actually probably won't change a lot. But our technology power and our knowledge and our manpower, I think, can contribute more than that figures.
Yeah, thank you. We always say the risk and opportunity just coexist. Yeah, when we see the risks coming and opportunities come after, I think. And I think in my next question goes to President Lins. We know that the National Applied Research Lab, I think this term or institutes are not that familiar to Taiwan's audience. Could President Lins give us ideas how the National Applied Research Lab will help Taiwan to do on the path to the net zero 2050? How is there any specific technology we'll focus on to tackle the carbon emission, please?
Thank you for your question. I think in order to achieve the goal of 2050 net zero, a power system with a high penetration rate of renewable energy is a must. However, owing to the nature of distributed and intermittency of renewable energy, some power electronic-based technologies have to develop in order to improve the power quality of the power system with high penetration rate of renewable energy, such as solid-state transformer, Steadicam, or flexible AC transmission system. With this power electronics-based technology, then the power system with a high penetration rate of renewable energy can be guaranteed. Moreover, if the renewable energy is generated not as expected, the power company have to buy ancillary service from electricity market, and it is now available in Taiwan. For instance, the power company can buy demand response, which also called the virtual power plant, from electricity market. Therefore, the load can be decreased. On the other hand, if the renewable energy, the generated renewable energy is too much, and as everybody knows, the renewable energy is very variable. Therefore, this undispatched renewable energy should be stored in battery energy storage or using electrolysis for green hydrogen. Therefore, I think the government should put enough research resources to university and research institute in Taiwan in order to develop solid-state electromechanical energy storage and the hydrogen storage system, and the next generation of electrolysis or fuel cell for hydrogen energy. That's my comments.
Thank you, President Lin. And my next question goes to Jerry. I think you probably is the only leader from the private sector today. And I want to know that as you observe, or as the next drivers observe, how could you provide or contribute your parts? And I know you focus on clean energy and renewable energy for the next driver. And how you shift your focus several years ago from the semiconductor to renewable energy. And how companies like Next Drivers can contribute to net zero goals in 2050. Could you share with your insight?
Yeah, sure. I think the next question comes first. 8 years ago, I quit the job from semiconductor. That's because, my personality is always looking for unknown curiosity, chasing for the future trend. So semiconductor is like, if you work there for over 6 years, everything become routine because we are basically follow a standard spec data sheet. And what Taiwanese companies are good is at the cost it down. So I decided to moving on, not always keep in the same cycling life. So that's the reason I quit. So when I looking for the new opportunity, I realized the IoT industry is another policy we can chase on. So when I met the power expert from Japan, I found that the so-called AIoT solution might be helpful for the energy sector, especially for renewable energy, because we know renewable energy is unstable. So you want to predict it, you have to know where the generation come, where the power be used, where there's a buffer like batteries store the extra power that's generated by the wind or sun. So there is a big advantage for Taiwanese company because we all know that we are very good at making things acceptable, especially the price. So that's the way I start this company, and that's the key reason that Japanese power company working with us for lower down their cost. So I think especially for Taiwan, 2.5 years ago, when we come back to Taiwan, at that time, Taiwan Power Company started to distribute the smart meters. So we found that that's another good opportunity to take the successful, commercial story what we done in Japan back to Taiwan. So to meet the net zero in 2050, I think the AIoT technology is a must, but integrating it with the energy usage, the energy generation, and the energy storage, we can make it like a balance happen smoothly.
That's it. That's one of the advantage I think Taiwan enjoy because we have a very good foundation and fundamental strengths on the information technologies. And speaking the technologies, and we know that Taiwan we enjoy the pretty good performance on the semiconductor. And next stage is new energies. The second round question is about the talent. I think talent is the most essential asset when we develop the semiconductor. I think new energy as well, or the net zero technology related very closely to our how we prepare on the capital assets. And I think this question go back to Director Luo and how the National Science Technology Council prepare or to build up our the human resources foundations on the top of semiconductor or information technology, please.
Okay. So I totally agree that talents are critically important, in developing new technologies. And actually, we have many big projects about this net zero, like this carbon capture, storage, and utility, and the hydrogen energy, and the ocean energy, and the battery, and so on. I mean, this project even cooperate with the private sector like Thai Power and the China Petrol Zongyou. Okay, I mean, through this research of this project, we certainly can cultivate many talents and even the high levels experts. At the same time, I also would like to emphasize all this technology development is based on basic sciences. So the development of basic science is strongly correlated to the development of sustainability. So continuing to invest in basic science is a very important strategy to develop sustainability in Taiwan. Okay, so what do we think that apart from the people who can work in fundamental science, basic science, will be a great human resource for sustainable development. In addition, I think it's also very important to introduce the idea of sustainability and the correlation between the basic science and the sustainable development, so that we can attract young talents or young generation into the field of a resource to accumulate our assets.
Thank you. And how about Dr. Lins and your opinion? I'm just wondering, or I always be asked that is our human resource large enough to sustain our competitiveness on semiconductor and to develop the renewable technology at the same time, especially we all know our birth rate is getting lower. Do you think Taiwan have the capacity on human resources to deal with or to manage the future challenge of net zero?
Yep. I believe we have human resource and capabilities, but I believe I probably echo the keynote address. We train the young talent from outside the box because we need imagination for this future tech. I would like to put into probably our real world, probably for the people right now on site or online, because I believe this net zero transition is not just technology transition; it also is a lifestyle transition. So probably people right now have the mobile phone with you. Probably 10 years or 20 years ago, probably you cannot imagine. Now everybody has a mobile phone, and you use a mobile phone in today's ways. So you think about 20 years from now or 30 years from now, I think the world is changing faster than the past 10 years. So now there's lots of applications, just like Jerry mentioned, AI, OT, and lots of applications now it's running as every day. It's very high speed in way. So I believe the lifestyle will be changed a lot. So now probably I give a few examples. Now for people that now probably use the circular economy, also including, so right now some leading company will make it recyclable, all the material, and also you should use it to power from green electricities. So the zero waste recycling life will be part of this old everyday life. So also the buildings and also transportation. And also lots of new business model will come into this world. Probably in the next few years, or maybe right now, you don't need to own this product. You just use that. So you just rent it. Now there's some car sharing, bike sharing. So now new business model has already come into being. So I believe that we have lots of smarter people in Taiwan, and that just give them much more imagination and the training. I think that the Red Law has mentioned a lot. The education will be a key. And also, I personally think probably we need to create some imagination world or corner. For example, the net zero life corner, all that experimenting zone. So people kind of, you need to try to experiment that kind of the net zero life is about. Yeah. So that will be very important. So I remember in Europe, there's already some kind of a citizen movement for some transition township. Uh-huh. So the whole town or whole community is now already moving on that direction. Mm-hmm. So that need to go into connected to your daily life. And I believe we have the capacity, and we already have a very good foundation toward that net zero goal.
Yeah. The experiments area like sandbox aim for the future of net zero era. And I think my next question goes to President Lins. And in perspective of a National Applied Research Lab, do you think could you find the quality talent to support your research, or to support the research which is Taiwan need in the future?
Thank you for your question. Currently, there are 3 projects in NAR Labs in order to achieve 2050 net zero. The first one is geological survey for offshore wind power and the CCS implementation. And the second one is geological design parameters for offshore wind farm. And the third one is the most popular one, is IC design of AIoT for power saving implementation. The introduction of AIoT technology can detect various applications in scenarios through object recognition technology, allowing smarter appliances to respond earlier for achieving the effect of power saving. For now, AI chips in AIoT devices still play the key technical role. At present, Taiwan Semiconductor Research Institute has cooperated with a number of academic teams to carry out deep learning object detection for the design of AI chips and build an AI chip design and R&D platform. NAR Labs is willing to cooperate with university and research institutes domestically and internationally by using the infrastructure built by NAR Labs to for the development for the mentioned technology. At the same time, many talents can join this project. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. And currently, I tell you guys a story. I'm personal, just attend a program in Taida, Taiwan University. A lot of my students, a lot of my classmates or friends is coming from overseas. Actually, Taiwan sort of the attractions to the foreign students getting higher, in my personal opinion. I think we probably just have 3 minutes left, and I think I left the time to Jerry. And do you, in perspective of the next drivers, do you think, can you recruit the talents you want? Or could you give, because we do have some representative from the public sector here, and could you give our government some suggestions or advice how Taiwan can tackle the challenge ahead, and how do we need to do more on the path to net zero, please?
Sure. The first question is to recruiting a good talent. A few years ago, for us, it's very, very difficult. Right now, it's getting easier and easier because the energy sector become harder and harder. So for my suggestion to the government, I would say that we can put more investment on the demand side, because that's the emission of carbon dioxide is always caused by human activity. That's from the demand side. So I want to give you a real case, which is our customer in Tokyo. The gentleman lived with his wife and the 2 children, and he installed 17 kilowatt power solar on the rooftop. And he also purchased EV, a Hyundai Ioniq 5. And he installed the EV charger, a very special one. It's a 2-way EV charger. In Japan, we call it a Chatemo standard. So the guy, his life is like he need to send his children to the school at like 7 a.m. Also, his wife work at home. And after sending his children to the school, he went to the office and come back at like 7 p.m. in the afternoon. So this guy basically paid 200 yen to the power company per month. That's because he used the solar panel, the generation is all green from his rooftop. But in the raining day, he basically have to use the power from the company. But the rest of the time, because he got 70 kilowatt power, so the rest of the time, his own generation power is oversupplied to his home. So he sell the power back to the power company with a lower, like 1/3 price compared with what he purchased from the power company. But in the night, especially in the summertime, we want to turn on the air conditioner all day long, right? Otherwise, it's causing very uncomfortable. So he leveraged his car. Daikin's air conditioner is very power saving. So he can basically turn on the air conditioner all night long for like 4 kilowatt hour per night. The car actually equipped with 53 kilowatt hour battery there. So by leveraging the car as a mobile battery, he can basically, satisfy himself, and it's all green. So that's one of the very important, my point of view, to the government. If we want to invest on the production side, that's needed, but with some sort of limitation, because the over investment will cause a lot of waste. And also all the construction is another way to contribute to the carbonization. So what about learning other countries' advice. In Japan, they are more and more focused on controlling the demand side. They want to reduce the carbon dioxide from the root cause.
Thank you, thank you. Time is almost up, and I just like to thank you for your intentions, and especially thank for again President John's inspiring speech. And I think net zero is a long way to go. So I'm looking forward to see you again. Thank you.